Yeah, but that's why I'm saying that, I think it's important to set that basis that a lot of guys, some guys, a lot of the guys that are listening, right, that, like I said, that might fall in the nice guy category that struggle with women, they need to stop trying to be so nice. They need to stop trying to be like, oh, I'm just going to be a perfect gentleman tonight. And, there's this movie, what is the movie? It's like Swingers, it's called, but it's not about that kind of swinging. But
Sure.
There's this part in the movie where he says, I don't want you to be that guy in the PG-13 movie that everybody really hopes is going to make it. I want you to be the guy in the rated R movie that you're not quite sure if you like. That's what guys need to be.
It's got to be hard from someone going from people pleasing, which essentially is what nice guy sort of thing is, to like now you're telling them to be kind of like an asshole, which like they don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think instead it would be like you said that like don't worry about what you're saying. Like don't worry about like coming across a certain way to this person.
Right.
Like focus on being you.
Right.
And like have boundaries. Like boundaries are a good thing. It's like you're not being unkind, but you have boundaries, and like be a little bit, maybe it's easier for guys to be a little bit more mysterious rather. Like don't put your heart on your sleeve, because I don't think anybody should. I don't think women should.
No, you can't.
I don't
you gotta
think
play
men
your cards
should
close at first.
Yeah, from the very beginning. Because here's another thing too. Like you go on a date.
Right.
You tell everybody or tell the guy everything.
Right.
And then now like you realize you don't really like him, and now he knows all the stuff about you. Not that I'm like thinking he's going to do anything with it, but it's just now it's like you feel like, what was the point? It makes women be like, I don't want to put myself out there because I went and told this person all these things about me and we didn't work out. Like a problem with women that I realized from talking to other women that I guess wouldn't necessarily have girl game, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like they would just stay with whoever because it's comfortable. And they're like, I don't want to go on dates because I don't want to have to tell somebody about myself. Like, I don't want to, I'm like, come on. Like the easiest thing to do is to go out with somebody and just like talk to them, like don't treat it like an interview. Don't treat it like I need the next guy I go on a date with to be my husband.
See, women do
women do that. Yeah.
Because it's the same thing. That's why I'm saying it's like, women will try and
fit a guy into the mold rather than
and they have these expectations and right. And it's the same thing, like you said, like guys shouldn't be like, oh, have these expectations either. But you have an outcome that you would like to occur, but you're not attached to that outcome. That's the thing about it.
But it'll make it, I guess what I was trying to say with the, woman thing complaining is that like if you don't show all your cards from the bat, like right off the bat, you won't be as upset if it doesn't work out. Like you won't be as exhausted to have to go on another date, because what did you really give this guy? Like you guys had a conversation. You didn't talk about everything. You talked about, certain things, and you realized it wasn't working out. And so like, you're not as like, feel like you're as emotionally invested. Like I'm not telling women to not have feelings, but kind of like, because the thing is like you just said, a lot of women are like, the next guy I go on a date with, he better be my future husband because I'm like ready to do this and settle down and have kids. And it's like, that never works. Right.
And then that's, because that's going to push a guy away. He's not going to, but want that.
Right. Well, it's just like, you're putting this like desperate energy out there.
Right.
And people can tell. And nice guys do that too, right? Like they're trying so hard.
They might be even trying to get the girlfriend.
This person like them that it almost repels the person because you can feel the like inauthenticity in it.
Yeah. The incongruence. Like it's like you're not what you appear to be, right? And but that kind of brings us into what I was going to say about what should a guy be doing on a date, right? And the big tip to start off is that you do need to have the idea of bringing your sexual energy to the date to actually have the outcome of, this could end in getting laid tonight. Like, and to actually really, because again, and I'm saying this because you have to have that mindset as a guy going into this, because so many guys are like, oh, good night kiss at the end.
Well, it'll help you be smoother.
Right. It'll help you be smoother, because if you're thinking about making moves and, because one of the biggest things, and I'm sure you can confirm this, the reason why a lot of women date a guy once and then never call him again, right, is because there's no chemistry. But that usually means he didn't make any moves. He didn't try, there was no sexual vibe. Right. Because he didn't create a sexual vibe at all. So, a lot of times women just interpret that as there was no chemistry. But what they don't realize a lot of times is it's because the guy was too passive. He didn't actually make a move. Not to say that, some moves are rejected, obviously, but you have to kind of play
it's a balance,
right,
though.
It is.
Like,
but he has to
need
try
to
for it. If he's not trying for it, it's almost guaranteed there's going to be no chemistry. You know what I mean? Like, am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah, I think from like a woman's perspective, the perfect balance would be like flirty comments with a little bit of sexual tension, not outright like sexual remarks.
Absolutely.
And then I don't think any woman really has a problem with a guy she chose to go on a date with attempting to kiss her.
Sure.
But it's just if it was overbearing or the guy got upset and caused a scene.
Right.
So I think it is a balance to it. Right. And that in itself is a mastery. That's what guys have to master.
Being smooth, yeah.
Women need to master girl game, which is different.
Exactly.
Guys need to master flirting and adding the sexual tension without being outright sexual.
Right.
Because that can turn a woman off too. And, attempting kissing or, whatever on the first date, but then also knowing when to back off and not making it weird or him getting angry or things like that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I agree 100%. So I would say starting out, as far as even asking the girl out on the date, right? Usually what's going to happen nowadays is it's going to occur over text.
Right. Or an app.
Dating app. It's, obviously.
Still words.
I'll from the very beginning, if you see an attractive girl and you want to go talk to her, go and talk to her. Stop being a wuss. Just do it, right? And if you do talk to her and you get her number, spend some time actually talking to her and just get the number and then run away and be, because you want to actually set some idea, some plan.
But that's also kind of some mystery, talking to somebody, then going somewhere else for the night and then bumping back into them, or that's a whole nother.
I'm talking about don't just go up to a girl, get her phone number, and then you just run away. I got the number. Okay, now because she's never going to text you back. But let's say that you're at the stage. Let's just assume that you're at the stage of you're texting the girl. Mm-hmm. So the number one mistake, I'll give two mistakes. Number one and number two is don't text her too much before the date. You should have a few texts, that are funny, flirty. Maybe you say something that you said when you're in person, like an inside joke or something that you said on the dating app or whatever, and make it a little bit, casual, but nothing serious, no interview questions, and then set the date. That's number one. And then don't keep on talking to her. A little thing here, maybe a picture here, a little meme, something like that. Well,
because I would say that women do need to vet a little bit. I'm not saying interview him before you even go on a date, but I do think women need to test the waters a little bit and kind of see what this guy is all about. We kind of did that.
Well, in a
way, but we didn't talk a
banter.
lot.
Right.
But yes,
a little bit
I'm
of
saying
banter,
that's important because our first interaction, as we've said, is me messaging you. And I was like, you look nice, but your profile's douchey. So, there was some back and forth. And that was important to me too at the same time. I didn't say it to you because I was testing you.
Right.
Your profile was douchey. But at the same time, your response to that and from then on gave me a read of you.
Right.
And that determined how you would probably be if we went on a date. And if I had to be no, shut you down, how you would respond.
Right.
So I'm not telling women to go and message guys and insult them for some reason. I mean, at the same time, if the guy's got a douchey profile, just be hey, you look nice, but your profile's a little douchey. And you might realize that how he responds also will give you an indication of how this guy's going to act.
Right.
But what I'm saying is we had that little bit, and then I am very team get some sort of social media, because even when I was dating, so many guys surprisingly would use 10-year-old photos, and then you'd go on their Instagram and they would look so different. Like, they talk about women catfishing guys, but they don't talk about guys catfishing women. Like, women do talk about it to other women, but we don't even put on blast the catfish dudes.
It happens for sure, yeah.
But I think also when you do that, you can kind of see what they're posting and get a little bit more information without having to have full-blown conversations.
Exactly. And that's the detective that
exactly. We're going to detect.
Right. But the man should still, again, we had some playful banter and I think that's good. But again, it's more, let's set the date. You're going to have more of the conversation on the date. You don't want to become pen pals because you want to have the element of mystery.
Yeah.
Because what happens a lot of times is the way that guys will ruin a date before it even starts is they'll overly talk to the girl. They'll talk about they'll maybe talk for hours back and forth on text, or they'll get on the phone. And then at this point, all that anticipation that she had about, I wonder what this guy's going to be like. I wonder, the butterflies that she had in her stomach. She already kind of knows you, and maybe she does even like you, but the tension there is gone. So then she doesn't feel the need to go on the date.
And it can make it awkward because you already talked about so much stuff.
Right. And how's it going to be? Like, I like the texting. I don't know if I like this person in person.
Right.
Whereas it's like, don't do that. Don't make that mistake. Instead, let her think, let her be excited to go on the date, to really meet you, have a little bit of playful banter that's flirty so that she's excited about that. She's like, oh, this guy, she's amping you up in her mind. Whereas the more that you talk, the more you're revealing yourself and you're getting rid of the mystery.
Well, because you said that.
Right.
Got me thinking. Maybe these nice guys like texting because they can appear more confident than in person.
Right.
And that can also make it weird when you actually meet up because you're like, oh, this guy seemed this way.
Right.
And then when we met in person, it was very like different energy. Right. So I understand where you're coming from. Right. I'm just saying it is a delicate balance as well too, because women should be vetting more, like we've talked about in other episodes. So I do think you need to ask some things and try to get some sort of vibe. Like you said, even if it's like us using our detective skills to get those vibes, still get what you feel like you need. But I do agree with you that if anybody, man or woman, is texting for so long, asking so many questions, then you lose a lot of the mystery. The date's kind of pointless.
Right.
It almost can like ruin it because, like I said, it could be like a different energy over text message because people can act differently. Like, it's easier for people to appear a certain way online or over text than in person. So I do agree with that. I just it's hard because women do need to vet.
Yeah.
And men need to not spill all the beans.
And that's where there's those two opposing forces, right? She's going to try and get you to talk more. As a man, you have to not talk too much. You have to give her enough in order so she feels safe.
Yes.
And she feels like, she's, so you give her that, but don't give her all that she wants because she will keep on talking to you and keep on texting to you. Right. And she's like, oh, there's a really strong connection. And you have to like resist that as a man and say, wait a minute, we're going to do this in person because I want her to actually to see me in person. And which brings us to the second mistake, which is it's related to the first one, which is don't get sexual on the text before the date.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of guys will do this and a lot of women will respond and they will get super sexual. You'll be sexting. And then what happens is now, again, all the mystery is gone and the hype is built so high.
Right.
And when you actually get in person,
can't live up to it.
You're not going to live up to it. And she's going to be disappointed in your sexual performance by a lot. And then that's it. So instead, as a guy, what you should be doing is, even if she gets a little, like you might flirt a little bit. And again, flirting is being sexual and funny and teasing at the same time.
Yeah, it's
not
light.
being just, it's light. But if she gets a little bit, she might get into that.
And be
then
like,
as
whoa,
a guy,
I'm not that type of guy.
Exactly. You make it her the aggressor and whoa, and just like cut it off so that don't go there. Even if she's trying to sext you.
Which you're not going to upset a woman by doing that.
Yeah, because a woman will get fulfilled. She will, I don't want to get too graphic on this podcast, but she will sext the guy, okay, and get what she needed from him from a sexual, without even having to meet him in person to a degree, and like, okay, well, that was fun and I'm done with this guy. That happens. I'm just saying,
I
like,
guess
it
but
does. And then the guy's like, what happened? She was so into me. She was sexting me. And then it's like, well, yeah, because you already blew all her fuses. Like she already like, like there's no anticipation left at this point.
I mean, I guess
You know?
I can't say I know any women who do that, but I'm not saying that.
Better than